All right, so welcome everyone to our Suburban Advocacy call. Today, I think Dave Simmons from Ida, Illinois won't be here today. He's in transit right now on a bus heading to Peoria. So it'll just be me, but we do have two guests from CMAP and UIC's Project Sidewalk. So we're excited to hear from them. And I think because it's a larger group today and because we have these presentations planned, usually during these meetings, we have everyone just share their name, speak their name and where they're from. But if you could add to the chat your name, your location, whether that's a suburban village or city, or even if you're in the city of Chicago, where you're from, so we can just get a sense of who's here. And maybe you'll find a neighbor um, that that you didn't know before. So if you can all add your names to the chat right now. And I know today also there is a suburban transit summit going on in in Arlington Heights. And I know there's a handful of people that are there today, which is exciting. And we'll have to get updates from them at our next call, which is on scheduled for December 11th. So just wanted to put that date out there. So save the date for our next suburban call. And I'll of course send out registration link to everyone. And I did want, before we jump into our presentations today, I wanted to talk a little bit about transit, since it is the Suburban Transit Summit. I have a quick poll. We don't usually do the polls with Zoom, but I wanted to give it a try. Just about your, curious about, do you all use transit or do you use it sometimes every day? So I'm going to launch this poll. I'm just curious. So the question is, how often do you use public transit? So PACE, Metra, or CTA? That's the first question. There's two questions there, if you can see that. So daily, weekly, or a few times per week, monthly, a few times per month, a few times per year, less often than a few times per year, never. Not sure. And then second question is, if more, if we increased funding for public transit and there was more frequency, more buses, more trains, more bus routes, would you use transit more often? So it's looking like, okay, most people have taken the poll. Give you 3 more seconds, and then I'll end the poll and we can see the results. Okay, I'm gonna end it. Okay, I'm gonna, can you guys see that? So it looks like it's a lot of people use transit maybe monthly or a few times per year. That's where the peak is, but there are people that use it daily and weekly. But the overwhelming majority would definitely use transit more if it were more frequent, more reliable, more routes. So that's good to hear. So at the next call on December 11th, I think we'll be talking a little bit more about transit, because next year is when we've got the big push to figure out how to make sure to save our transit system in the region and make sure it is funding continues, since the COVID relief funding will be ending. So it'll be a bigger topic of conversation then. So stop sharing this. All right. So, and if you just joined, be sure to share your name and your location in the chat. All right, with that, so the agenda today, so first we're going to hear from Borja González from CMAP. He'll be talking about the Safe Travel for All initiative that CMAP is running, and how you can all participate. And then we'll be hearing from KiAnna McKee-Steen, who is from UIC on the Project Sidewalk team, and we'll be hearing about Project Sidewalk, and as well as the launch of a new initiative that we're collaborating on to get all of you involved in mapping your own communities, as well as a stipend program that we've got. And then I have a few updates. I have a few updates for Dave from Ride, Illinois to share with you all, and then we'll open it up to everyone here for anything you want to bring up or any questions you have. So with that, let me turn it over to you, Borja. You should be able to share your screen.
Sounds good. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect.
No,
So good
no.
morning, everyone. Sorry? Good. Good morning, everyone. My name is Borja González. I'm a planner at the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, and I use él, he, him pronouns. I am CMAP's project manager for the Regional Engagement Initiative, Safe Travel for All. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the work that we are doing at CMAP to improve travel safety with a focus on the work funded by our Safe Street for All grant to develop safety action plans for 6 counties. We started this work recognizing that there was an alarming trend of increasing traffic fatalities on our roadways since 2014, which happens to be when SUVs and trucks overtook the market share of vehicles on the road. And the business as usual approach wasn't going to solve the problem. So we're seeing these same trends among people walking and biking. And one other things that we also found out is that in our region, Black residents are disproportionately impacted with traffic fatalities rates more than 3 times higher than white people in the region, in the CMAP region. On top of all the lives lost, there are additional impacts. Each person who loses their life has family members, friends. They're also impacted by the loss of life. And we're also seeing over 30,000 people a year injured on our roadways. Those deaths, those injuries, the loss of quality of life, the emotional toll on loved ones, it all adds up. The US DOT has calculated that the cost incurred just here in the region amount to over 25 billion annually. To address the traffic safety crisis, CMAP established the STAR, a Safe Travel for All roadmap program. This is a 5-year effort to improve traffic safety through data collection and analysis, policy recommendations, local planning projects, and implementation assistance. The safety action plans are only one part of our STAR program to improve traffic safety. And other work in the program includes speed management papers, data efforts to compile and organize important travel safety data like the sidewalk inventory, the bicycle inventory. We also create bicycle, pedestrian, and community mobility plans, and also projects to assess the economic impacts of complete streets and more. The SAs4A, Safety Streets and Roads for All program, is funded by a large grant from the federal government, with IDOT and counties contributing. CMAP contracted with consultants to develop county-wide safety action plans based on our internally developed regional framework. And I thought that I would start with a little bit more of what a safety action plan is, along with the purpose and general timeline of the projects. We work closely with Federal Highway Administration to ensure that the county plans would meet the requirements that would enable municipalities to be eligible for implementation funding if safety needs are identified. A safety action plan is defined by the U.S. Department of Transportation. It's aimed at reducing and eliminating serious injury and fatal crashes affecting all roadway users through the use of data analysis to characterize roadway safety problems and strengthen a community's approach through the identification of projects and strategies that address the most significant safety risks. So 3 key takeaways to remember that I want to highlight. First, the goal is to reduce and eliminate fatal and serious injury crashes. Second, data analysis is used to inform the location of roadway safety concerns. And third, the plan includes the identification of project strategies and policies to reduce risk and eliminate serious injury and fatal crashes. Also, safety action plans are guided by a safe system approach to transportation safety, which we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means. Safe system approach at all level of government, we are beginning to experience a shift away from the traditional safety approach, which has historically been that crashes and road deaths are an unfortunate but inevitable part of our transportation system, and that human behavior is the primary culprit. So the safe system approach, however, represents a shift in this thinking. US DOT says that safe systems is, quote, as a paradigm shift to improve safety culture, increase collaboration across all safety stakeholders, and refocus transportation system design and operation on anticipating human mistakes and lessening impact forces to reduce crash severity and save lives. So in short, the safe system approach is a holistic approach which first anticipates human mistakes and secondly, designs a system with safety measures that reduce the likelihood of serious and fatal outcomes of those mistakes. So it is in a way, an acknowledgement that design decisions for elements of our transportation system, including vehicles and roadways, do what they do and what the impact that they have on serious injuries and deaths. So with this, our society should not be resigned to the notion that some mistakes that happen on our roadways will inevitably result in serious injury and deaths. Instead, our future transportation decisions and policies should ensure that mistakes made by transportation users do not result in death or serious injury. There are 6 key principles that I would like to talk about of a safe system approach to transportation planning. The first one is death and serious injury on our roadway is unacceptable. The second one, humans make mistakes. The third one, humans are vulnerable. Also, there is a shared responsibility for safety. Then safety is proactive. And lastly, a redundancy of safety measures is critical and needed. So with this, the safe system approach strives for safety in 6 areas by advocating for safe road users, which encourages safe, responsible behavior by people who use our roads and create conditions that prioritize their ability to reach their destination unharmed. Second, safe roads design roadway environments to mitigate human mistakes and account for injury tolerances, to encourage safer behaviors and to facilitate safe travel by the most vulnerable users. Then safer speeds promote safer speeds in all roadway environments through a combination of thoughtful, context-appropriate roadway design, targeted education and outreach campaigns and enforcement. Also safe vehicles, expand the availability of vehicle systems and features that help prevent crashes and minimize the impact of crashes on both occupants and non-occupants. Another one, improved post-crash care, enhance the survivability of crashes through expedient access to emergency medical care, while creating a safe working environment for vital first responders and preventing secondary crashes through robust traffic incident management practices. So knowing all of this, I know that that was a lot. Let's talk through the project purpose and the ways that, for example, Will County communities will benefit from having an adopted safety action plan. So there are 3 phases. The county safety action plan is currently transitioning from phase 1, focus on analyzing existing conditions, to phase 2, where we will develop strategies and prioritizing safety measures with full implementation set for spring 2025. And I would like to point out that public engagement and equity analysis are guiding all phases. And Maggie, if you want to go ahead and share the links with people in the chat. So we have a website landing page for each of the six county pages. So when you click on the blue box, it takes you to the county website. For example, this is the Will County website with upcoming events listed on the right-hand side of the page and links to learn more. So if you scroll down, there is a survey and an interactive map that I encourage everyone to take and share with your communities. This is a screenshot of the points of safety concerns identified by residents and stakeholders. And then obviously having a plan, even if we're planners and we love plans, this is not the end of, this is not our goal. We want to improve safety, which means that we need to implement the recommendations. So we worked closely with Federal Highway Administration to ensure that the county plans would meet the requirements that would enable municipalities to be eligible for implementation funding if safety needs are identified. So upon completion of a safety action plan, communities in the region can apply for funding through this program to build their recommendations. Shown on this slide are some of the examples of what sort of projects have been funded by the implementation grants. These recommendations will be focused on infrastructure, operational safety, and strategies and policies. So, for example, strategy and project selections will include identification of a comprehensive set of projects and strategies that are shaped by data, the best available evidence and practices, and stakeholder input and equity considerations. And all these will follow the safe system approach that I have already talked about and will be done to address the safety problems described in the action plan. So once identified, the projects and strategies will be prioritized in a list that provides time ranges for when the strategies and countermeasures will be deployed, short, mid, and long-term timeframes. And the list should also include specific projects and strategies or description of programs, and also has to explain the prioritization criteria used. Some recommendations for infrastructure improvements that will be proposed include 4 to 3 roadway conversions, addition of sidewalks or bike lanes, curb extensions, roundabouts, raised medians, access management, etc. Also, examples of recommendations for operational safety could include speed feedback signs, and some examples of strategies and policies could also include speed management plans, traffic calming program, driver education, fatal crash review commission board, complete streets design guides, etc. These are some of the examples that could be included to address operational safety. In addition to infrastructure and operational safety, the plans will also include strategies, policies, and programs to address safety. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much, Borja. I'm also pasting the general page that brings you to the hub with all of the links to the plans that Borja just went over. But it just seems like this is a great opportunity to check out your county's plan. And if you know of a road intersection that you don't feel comfortable on, mark it up and ask people to mark it up and spread the word about this so that those safety issues are known then by CMAP and the county, and then can then get addressed in the future. So yeah, thanks for adding your email there. Anyone have any questions for Borja? Oh, Carl, your hand's up.
Yeah, can you you talked about implementation in 2025. What is that implementation of? Does CMAP actually change things on certain roads to make them safer, or is it up to the counties?
Yeah, so the implementation phase, a phase which we haven't gotten there yet, but will consist of working with municipalities and with the counties to get the appropriate funding for them to implement or integrate all these strategies and countermeasures that we identified, that could potentially minimize traffic injuries across the county or across the region.
Great. Another question from Alan in the chat. When will the hotspot maps stop collecting new input? So how long will those maps be open?
So that engagement will be open until the very end of this initiative. So probably not until like next year. So you guys have time.
Right.
Um,
Like a year to spread the word and mark up the maps.
correct.
Okay. And a question from Terry, has the public responded to the surveys? So I guess are you starting to get input?
Yeah, actually, we have a lot of people who have already filled out our surveys. It depends. It varies by county, but I think we're getting a great input.
Great. And I feel like a lot of people on this call, your counties very well, your communities very well. And I have a feeling you also have a good sense of some of the dangerous areas. So please check it out. Also another question here from Valerie, love the safety hotspots. I have marked many areas. How seriously does CMAP take these recommendations from residents? So many areas are unsafe. How will you prioritize? Good question.
We take this community input very seriously. Something that we have stressed in the past few years is that community engagement is not just like a thing to cross, like in our plans. It's very important, that people feel heard, that people, like see their concerns implemented, when these plans will be implemented. So yeah, very, very seriously.
And I know you guys have there's a team of people, right, that are dedicated to this, that are focused on safety, which is good. But how, also to Valerie's question, how will you prioritize then all of the input that you're getting?
I think like one of the a very important component is to place equity throughout all these plans and all this initiative. So probably we'll take equity data into consideration in order to come up with a prioritization. So see the most underserved communities, like within each county, and see, how these plans need to be prioritized in order to address those.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Borja. And we'll make sure to get these links emailed to everyone, and appreciate you being here to share the initiative. And so thank you very much. So with that, I want to introduce you all to KiAnna, who is from UIC, the Project Sidewalk team. So KiAnna's going to speak a bit more about Project Sidewalk, and then we'll talk more about the collaboration that we're working on to get you all mapping the conditions in your own communities. So with that, I'll let you take over the screen.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, Maggie. My name is KiAnna McKee-Steen, and I'm the project coordinator for the UIC Institute of Disability and Human Development. I support Dr. Yohai Eisenberg, the program coordinator and lead researcher for UIC's Institute for Disability and Human Development. Today, I just wanted to share about Project Sidewalk and our collaboration with ATA. So first, just let me provide a brief overview of our institute. The UIC Institute of Disability and Human Development works to advance the quality of life for people with disabilities through education, research, and community engagement. In particular, under this grant program, we are utilizing Project Sidewalk and researching how cities collect and use data for pedestrian infrastructure, safety, and accessibility. Project Sidewalk was developed by the University of Washington Makeability Lab. It is a free online crowdsourcing tool that allows users to label sidewalk infrastructure and identify accessibility barriers by virtually moving through streets on Google Maps. So who can use this tool? ADA coordinators and city planners can use it to improve the accessibility of their communities. Educators and workforce development professionals can use Project Sidewalk as an opportunity to teach valuable advocacy and civic skills. Community organizations and community members can use Project Sidewalk as a tool for advocacy. We are currently collaborating with ATA to convene advocates from across Chicagoland and the Chicagoland suburbs to participate in training sessions or mapathons on how to use Project Sidewalk to identify and assess accessibility issues in their neighborhoods through the lens of pedestrian infrastructure. And now with ATA, bikeway conditions and safety. We are very excited about this partnership with ATA and can't wait to start this program and make communities safer. So I did want to see, I don't know if the audio is going to work. I do have a video to play, and then in the chat, I'll put a link to the UIC's website as well as Project Sidewalk website and my email. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Share sound. There we go. I'm going to go to this one. Okay. So I'm gonna make that smaller. And it's about 3 minutes.
How does the sidewalk infrastructure impact your daily life?
I had to be very careful. I know getting over the sidewalk, falling down. Some sidewalk is smooth, they're good. Some sidewalk is wrong. I had to take more time to walk on this sidewalk.
Nearly every person will experience disability at some point in their lifetime. As it stands, around 16% of the world's population lives with some form of disability. It's been over 34 years since the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Yet barriers persist across the board as many cities have not adequately addressed these accessibility issues. According to a recent study, a staggering 48% of sidewalks are not accessible to people with disabilities. Cities face a significant challenge in allocating funding to address accessible infrastructure. That's where Project Sidewalk steps in. Project Sidewalk is a free online, user-friendly crowdsourcing tool that transforms the accessibility of pedestrian infrastructure. It provides a convenient and efficient means to collect valuable data on the type and severity of barriers and the state of curb ramps, crossing signals, and crosswalks. Project Sidewalk has a proven track record of success, serving various users, including ADA coordinators, community organizations, city planners, educators, and community members. Chicago's 40th Ward integrated Project Sidewalk data, which ultimately helped make better decisions about prioritizing infrastructure spending and alert the appropriate city departments to high-priority accessibility issues. In Newberg, Oregon, community advocates and local government officials joined forces to map the sidewalk infrastructure, establish a new sidewalk renovation program, allocate funding for immediate repairs, and initiate 2 sidewalk accessibility grant programs for homeowners. Project Sidewalk can be a powerful tool for even one person. Community members passionate about enhancing the accessibility of their neighborhood can contribute valuable sidewalk accessibility data by creating an account and completing missions. The gathered data becomes a powerful resource to highlight infrastructure issues when advocating to decision makers. How do you see Project Sidewalk continuing to benefit individuals with disabilities in the future?
Making more sidewalk accessible for people with disabilities and getting more funding for sidewalks, which is all money put it on streets in the world. It needs to be more focus on the sidewalk.
Developed by the University of Washington's Makeability Lab, and in partnership with the University of Illinois at Chicago's Department of Disability and Human Development, as well as the Easter Seals organization, Project Sidewalk is a user-friendly solution for cities looking to enhance community accessibility. Join us today and help make our cities more accessible.
Okay, so TV. Okay, so let me see. There we go. So yeah, that is Project Sidewalk. I'm gonna let Maggie talk more about the stipend program, but we look forward to working with everyone, and I'll pop in those links in the chat. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. And that's a great video.
Thank you.
Nice job summarizing why it's important and what it's about. But so we in December and January, so December of this year, January of next year, we're going to be hosting some Mapathon training. So basically, this is where you'll learn how to use Project Sidewalk. You can map conditions of sidewalks as well as bikeways in your community. And again, you know, that data is really helpful for your public works departments, your engineers, your planners, and it can help them prioritize improvements. And they don't have that data. So we've talked to some municipal staff, and often, like, you know, they just don't necessarily have the time to collect that data. So Project Sidewalk is just a great opportunity for community members to get involved and help collect that data for your community and really make a big impact. So so in December, January, we're going to be doing these trainings, but we're also launching a stipend program for up to 10 community groups or individuals who are interested in committing to map the sidewalks and bikeways in their communities. So we'll be giving away a $300 stipend to each of these 10 communities or groups. And we just launched the application. I'm going to put in the chat. We just posted a blog this morning about the stipend program and how you can apply. There's, like, I don't know, 7, 8 questions. They're pretty simple. So if you're interested, recommend checking that out. Putting your name in. So when we do that Mapathon trainings, even if you don't get a stipend, you can still be a part of the trainings. You can still learn how to use the tool and use it for your community. But we just also wanted to offer the stipend, and we're hoping with the stipend you can use it to encourage more people in your community to volunteer and help map those sidewalks. Because, like, for one person to do an entire community on your own, that would be a heavy lift. Like, so having a team, having a group of volunteers that some people you can recruit to help map your sidewalks, your bikeways, can help you get that data collected pretty quickly. And then we'll also help support throughout the winter and summer, like, how can you actually use that data? How can you visualize it to present that to staff, to elected officials, so that they have that data and that they can clearly see where the needs are. So any questions for KiAnna or myself about Project Sidewalk, about the stipend program? We're hoping a handful of you guys get involved, and we're excited to do this. We think it's a great time to do it because it's winter. You can just wrap up in a blanket, get some hot chocolate, some tea, do some mapping, get your kids involved, get your friends and family involved. Yeah, any questions?
I missed that at the beginning of the presentation. So the tool is free for everyone, or the stipend will cover the access for the tool?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. So Project Sidewalk itself, the platform is free. It's a tool that anyone can log on and use. However, we are doing this collaboration with ATA, and that's kind of where that stipend is coming from. It's a separate program, but it's still utilized Project Sidewalk. the money that you would get from that would be more so for promoting and helping to support, community involvement.
Okay, so could be potentially used to pay the volunteers a little something to encourage people to participate, right? Thank you.
Yeah, I think we had some ideas where you could have maybe you get some prizes for like after you complete, if you map 5 miles of sidewalk or something, you get a prize, or you maybe have throw a pizza party for people that volunteer, like those types of ideas. Or maybe you can use the funding for some type of using it towards advocacy related to your findings. So that I think you can get creative with how you use it. But yes, the tool's free, but the stipend program, we're just hoping that helps you out and encourages just some community building, getting more people involved. So Helen, I see you have your hand up.
I was just wondering if you've seen specific examples of things that communities have done to get a lot of the mapping, like whether it's, I don't know, like having high schoolers get involved or like those types of examples that's been successful in getting a good amount of data.
Yeah, so we work with different organizations and communities in general just to get the map done. Um, However, we do have two programs right now, a service learning program for kind of middle school, high school students, using that to map out their communities. And then we also have another program, the Workforce Development Program. It's more so targeted for individuals with disabilities from 19 to 22-year-olds in transition programs who also map out their communities. So we have different things. I saw a question in the chat about getting involved with school. So I hope that answers that as well, that we do have a program for middle school and high school students. However, this is a separate program just to focus more so on communities. But yeah, we're very open to collaborating with communities and supporting communities to keep involvement there. So that's why we kind of offer a few check-ins, and it's kind of more of so a game. It's a very fun platform. So it's very easy to get done and sucked into mapping.
KiAnna, also a question related to that. If if you did want to get a school involved for your community, like do you know if have people in the past, have they actually gotten students involved like in the actual classroom, or is it part of like maybe an extracurricular group, or either?
Yeah, so that specific initiative is a curriculum-based initiative. So it's teaching students about accessibility and disability and all of those things, and they're mapping out their communities within that community, that curriculum. However, through this program, if communities decide that schools are a great option to get people to fill out their communities, we're definitely open to it.
And then I see Terry, you have a question. What tech can be used to activate walk lights and stop vehicles turning across walks when walk light is lit? Oh, I don't, well, yeah, maybe that's not for Project Sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's more for, is Borja still here? Um, he might have had to leave. Or no, Borja. Sure.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
here.
yeah, you're still here. Any thoughts about cars turning when turning right or left when a crosswalk is lit? Like how do you protect a pedestrian or a bicyclist?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tricky. That's I don't know if that's just, I don't know, Tara, if you have any thoughts about that yourself. If it's like, are you thinking about like no turn on red potentially? But yeah, it's turning is a tricky thing, but I guess we can maybe help slow cars down when they're turning. So make sure people are visible, like daylighting intersections. So making sure that there aren't cars parked right at the curb. Oh, no turn arrows, that sort of thinking, Terry. All
Yeah, I
right.
know I've seen it in my community. They have the little warning sign where pedestrians can press the button and it flashes real
Oh,
bright to let
yeah,
us know that there's someone there. And it's really good at night because you can't see
right.
people.
Yeah, right. That lighting is important for sure, and the flashing light. All right, any other Project Sidewalk questions? Um,
See Carl's hand is raised.
oh, Carl, yes. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank you. Once we put data into Project Sidewalk, how do we get it out? And can we see data that other communities have put in or only our own data?
Yeah, so the map itself on the website, there is a overview essentially where you can see all of the statistics and you can see each thing that's labeled sidewalk, crosswalk, curb ramp, all that stuff, the severity of it, you can see notes on it and you can really nitpick everything. And then for your community, we can take that data down and give it to you so that you can provide it to your city council and all of those decision makers and show them, we have a serious problem. Here's the data. Let's fix it. So, yeah.
Uh, more questions come in the chat.
So,
Is there a validation process for the collected data? I know Street View can sometimes be several years old on lower traffic roads. Good question.
yes. So unfortunately, since we use Google Maps, you'll see a lot while you're going through your map where you can have something that's super recent, May 2024, and then you can have something from 2020. And a lot of times it'll be frame by frame that you can see a difference. However, there is the mapping itself. So you're going in, auditing, finding crosswalks and curb ramps, labeling all of that, and then within that, there's a separate validation where you can go through your data as well as other folks' data so that we can see how accurate it is to say, is this a curb ramp? Is this where this belongs? Is this the correct label? So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, KiAnna. Helpful, and thanks for the video. Is that video something we can share out?
Yeah, it's on the accessible communities website as
Okay.
well as YouTube. If you search, let me see what the name of the video is. YouTube. If you search up, and I'll put the link in
Okay.
the chat.
Okay, super. All right, well, thank you. Appreciate it. And hope you all look at that link to apply for that $300 stipend. We'll be sending lots of announcements about it and also let you know once those training dates are scheduled in December and January so you can join no matter what. So hope you all get involved. So all right, so now wanted to well, a few updates actually from ATA and Ride Illinois, and then I'll open up to all of you. I know we only have 15 minutes left. So quick updates from us. So we have the Active Transportation Alliance member party is on December 3rd. So I'll send out more details about that, but we hope you can make it. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member. It's a really fun party. Food and drinks and good company. And I think we'll have some panels and we also wanted to share, just a update about Cook County. They created a bike plan and now they have a bike map that if you live in Cook County or if you ride through Cook County, this might be of interest to you. It shows you, just put it in the chat, it shows you where there are existing trails, side paths, bike routes, bike lanes, as well as planned and funded projects. So you can kind of get a sense of what's existing, what's the future going to look like. So check that out if you're interested in biking around Cook County. Do have a question about if anyone has any examples of a road diet in their community. We're we met with the village of Broadview yesterday, and they're interested in just seeing some successful examples of right sizing or a road diet, so reducing a road from say 4 lanes to 3 lanes with that center turn lane, adding bike lanes. How has that looked in your community, or just looking for examples? So if you have any examples, please type that in the chat. And I see some people already are adding some examples, so thank you. And they're also just curious about the economic impact, so local examples. And a few updates from Dave at Ride Illinois. So one, the Illinois Bike Walk Summit, which I think he mentioned last time. So save the date for May 7th and 8th. That summit will be taking place in Springfield, and it'll be a 2-day summit. The first day will be the typical like panels, presenters speaking up about various topics on both walking and biking. So it's not only focused on biking this year, it's both walking and biking. And the second day will be for both for professionals and advocates. So there will be some professional training, like bikeway design, pedestrian design, like NACTO, I think NACTO training for planners, engineers, municipal county staff, and that or other transportation professionals. And then there will also be a lobby day in Springfield. So that is where advocates can go and meet with their elected officials, their state elected officials, and advocate for walking and biking. And then we'll throughout the process help guide you on talking points and what asks to be making. So save the date, May 7th and 8th. And also Dave said that the request for proposals is now open. So if you're interested in presenting maybe on an advocacy initiative in your community or a project in your community, whether you're an advocate, community member, or staff or an elected official, I think any submissions are welcome. So I'll add the web page to the chat, so you can check out more information about that. But we're Active Trans, we're a partner. There are a lot of partners working on the planning of the summit with Ride Illinois. So it's a big collaboration, a big initiative this year. So we're excited about it. And then what else from Dave? There's also the National Bike Summit in DC. That's going to be coming up. What are the dates? March 11th and 13th of next year. And Ride Illinois leads that and coordinates with the Illinois delegates, the federal delegates. And a few other updates from him. They are hiring some lobbyists focused on bike-related legislation. So hopefully they'll be starting by the time the next state legislation season opens next winter or spring. Ride Illinois has also, if you remember, I think he might have announced this last time, but they hosted a training for league cycling instructors in Normal. So that those are people that they call them LCIs, and they can help train people how to ride a bike or just provide education on bike safety. And they train 9 individuals. So that means that we've got more people around Illinois that can teach bike safety, which is exciting. And if you're interested in becoming an LCI yourself, you can contact Dave, and I'll make sure to send all these details in our follow-up email. Also mention that there is, I think, 2 events I need to mention for him. Chicago Bike Collective Ride on November 1st. So that's an Aquaticity ride, and that it's celebrating all the bike collectives that are serving Black and Brown communities in Chicago, which that would be community bike shops and clubs and organizations. So the ride is going to be in Bridgeport, Pilsen, and I think that's where it's going to start and end. So that is on November 1st. And also on November 1st, oh shoot, did I miss a question for you, KiAnna? Yes, I did. There's a question from Carl. For state roads that go through our community, what would be the best way to get local Project Sidewalk data in front of IDOT?
Can you
Yeah, we can hear you.
Similar to community organizations, just bringing that information in front of the necessary individuals, especially with your community leaders leading that, especially is a good way to get their attention. And social media bringing awareness to this issue to help gain kind of that push.
Yeah.
There is power in numbers.
Definitely. And Ryan also added in the chat, tell your state rep. They're actually, they can be a very powerful force to get that information in front of the right people. And what was I gonna do? I was gonna try to, I forgot what I was trying to do. I was trying to find something for Dave. Oh, I know that someone, I think Ben Harris, Ben, you're not still there, are you? You had a message in the chat about Illinois, Ride Illinois' Grand Illinois Bike Tour, which registration opens on November 1st. So that's another November 1st thing to remember. And it looks like, yeah, we'll get that information out to you on November 1st. All right, so with that, please raise your hand or add anything in the chat if you have anything that you'd like to share with the group or have any questions, any events, any reflections, anything, feel free to speak up. And Valerie, I see your hands raised.
Hey, so I just wanted to share a recent tentative win out in Riverside. We're about 11 miles west of the city, and we have about 9,000 people. And I started a group called Ride Riverside this year, and I just recently had the president of Riverside come to one of our monthly bike rides. He basically said, if we get a referendum passed for our street funding, he is going to incorporate bike lanes and all sorts of pedestrian improvements. And we don't have a single bike lane in Riverside, so that's really exciting. And it just took, I guess, a year of talking with the president, trustees, and the village manager. So.
Wow, that's excellent. Like, so had you been inviting them to your events and then they showed up finally?
Yes. Yeah. So I've had trustees come, I've had the president come, and I think having these monthly events is just such a good way to make it fun and exciting for the community. And they have a platform. So I'm giving them a platform of up to 90 some people, and we only have 9,000 people. So that's like a sizable percentage of residents.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for the update. And you'll have to keep us updated on what happens with the referendum.
Yeah.
Yeah, exciting. Great. Thanks for sharing. All right, any other questions? Feel free to raise your hand. And I see there's some more things in the chat. From Alan, wondering for the Illinois Bike Walk Summit, could we get a list of the material that will be covered in the professional training sessions? Yes, I think that's still being worked out, and I'll mention that to Dave, and we'll get his response. But I think there will be more information later on once those details are determined. And then Ralph, I'm interested in knowing active bike ped plans recently completed or currently in the works. Does anyone, so Ralph writes for the Daily Herald. So anyone know of any active bike ped plans that you can share? I know of one. There's one going on. It's the West Cook bike ped plan. So this is, see if I can remember all the communities. It's 5 communities. It's Broadview, Westchester, Bellwood, Hillside, and one other community. Goodness, sorry for the community I've forgotten, but it's those 5 communities working on a bike ped plan with CMAP right now. I think the plan is that will be wrapping up next year. Anyone else know of any other plans in the works? And then Steve, I see you have a note here. I'd like to communicate with anyone in the DuPage area who was or should have been involved with the dead on arrival Winfield Road path. Yeah, Steve, can you speak more to that? What is?
Sure. And I see Melissa Bukowski, whom I've not met personally yet, but isn't on this call. Just there were some plans for a path along Winfield Road that was proposed from Butterfield Road to Roosevelt Road, which would have connected Cantigny, or Cantini as some call it, with St. James Farm. It's one of those great areas where the public has already created a path. People know ahead of time. It's just not official. And the plan seems to have gone nowhere, and it's ended before, from what I can see, before there was a lot of public comment and such. So I'm just trying to piece together what exactly happened here, because this would have been a great connector trail. So I'm interested in talking to anyone else in bicycle advocacy who was involved in public comment on that trail.
I can speak a little bit more to that, and I'll be happy to send you an email
I'll bet
to,
you can.
transportation planner with DuPage County. The reason so we started doing this survey work along that road because it's been part of a lot of our plans, our long range transportation plan, because of the connections as you referenced. But once we started doing some survey work just to understand what areas the county actually owned, very preliminary stuff going on, we started getting a lot of feedback from residents of the area completely against the project. They came through a lot of our technical committees and kind of putting in those public comments. And it was a large amount to the point where we're putting a stop to that at the moment.
Was there any public comment or review meetings held?
No, not on this project, because we were just starting to understand where the county property was to determine if we needed to do how much space we had for right of way if we were to put a path in there, and kind of understanding and collecting data on crash information and speeding and things like that. So a lot of the residents who live along that road saw us doing the survey work and then just started coming to our technical committees. Even though we weren't talking at those technical committees on this project, they came and just did open comment. And we were getting emails to both county board and myself against the project. And so at the moment, that project has been stalled.
All right. Well, thank you, Melissa. I look forward to seeing you at the Illinois Prairie Path meeting, and we'd like to invite you to one of our East Branch DuPage River Trail meetings. We'll be in contact about that.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you.
Great. I'm glad you two have connected. And yeah, it's unfortunate to hear about that path. And yeah. Okay, I know it's 1 o'clock. Just a couple more. There's a few more things in the chat. And Valerie, I don't know if you have a moment. Could you speak a little bit to the events that you have organized in Riverside?
Yeah, of course. So we actually got a grant from you guys early on to do a bike-powered music ride. So that was really kind of our kickoff. So we had somebody pedaling a bike that powered amplification for a band, like a real live band to play outside. And then we rode around our neighborhood. So every month on the second Friday of each month through December, we do a 4 to 5 mile slow roll. So families welcome through our town. And that has kind of become a bit of a platform for other groups and for our, people in power to speak beforehand. And so it's been a bit of, it's kind of morphed into more of an advocacy piece as opposed to just a fun bike ride. But it is really, for most people, just a fun bike ride. And we've had a lot of success. We've had 90 some people during the summer months come. And it's super fun. So I come up with a new route each month. I just promote through, we had a poster made and we put it around, and then we promote through Facebook and Instagram.
That's a great example of like how you quickly built like a bit of a community around biking when it's great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, we're just lucky. Riverside is really a great place to bike already. And I also had a lot of help from Chris Valadez of Cycle Brookfield. They're our neighboring town, and he's a part of Active Trans as well. And he's kind of given me a bit of the formula. And if anyone is interested in talking with me personally, it really works. So you just got to be consistent. You just I keep it the second Friday of every month, and people just know to expect it. And I keep it really accessible. So we're going about 6-7 miles per hour. We're going about 4 to 5 miles. So most people can handle that, like age 4 and up, basically.
Great. I love it. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Great. And Ralph, I see in the chat, there are more examples from Ryan and Nicole of plans around the region. There are a handful of plans actually going on or have been recently completed. So, all right. Well, thank you all again for being here. Thank you to our guests, KiAnna and Borja. And I'll follow up again with a lot of links that were shared today, but appreciate it and hope to see you all on December 11th for our next call. All right. Take care, everyone.